The Galactic Council Chamber was the largest room in the known galaxy. Its walls shimmered with alien metals that no human could name, and light flowed through the ceiling in patterns that made the entire chamber feel alive. Thousands of representatives from hundreds of civilizations filled the room. Each species had its own way of moving, speaking, and thinking. Some floated, some glided, some walked on dozens of legs. And at the center of it all stood the humans, Captain Elias. Trent of the United Earth Expedition led the small human delegation. He was not very tall by alien standards, and his uniform looked simple and plain compared to the exotic armors and robes of the other delegates. But his eyes were sharp and his posture calm. Behind him stood 3 human engineers, carrying cases that looked ordinary. "What is this?" A tall, 6-armed alien with green scales asked. Its voice was like gravel scratching over metal. "Weapons. Humans still use bullets?" Elias smiled politely. "Yes, bullets," he said. "They are simple, effective, and reliable." The alien laughed a sound that shook the air. "Reliable? Against our energy shields and plasma cannons? You cannot be serious." Another alien, a floating orb of light that communicated with pulses, blinked rapidly. Its translator emitted a series of beeps. "Primitive. Absolutely primitive," it said. The aliens in the room laughed in agreement. Elias didn't flinch. He had expected this reaction. Humans had always been underestimated. Their technology was often considered crude compared to the advanced weapons of other civilizations. But humans had something the aliens didn't always account for: ingenuity, discipline, and the ability to fight in ways no alien did. The council's speaker, a giant insectoid with 4 heads, raised its claw. "Humans, if you are here to demonstrate your primitive guns, we suggest you do it quickly. We have more pressing matters to discuss, matters of galaxy-wide defense and diplomacy." Elias nodded. "Of course, we will be brief." The humans moved to the center of the chamber. The 3 engineers opened their cases. Inside were rifles, handguns, and a few small automatic weapons. Nothing sparkled. Nothing hummed with energy. The aliens stared, incredulous. One of the younger aliens whispered to another, "They must be joking." No serious species would carry these relics into a council meeting. Elias lifted a rifle. It was made of polished steel and reinforced polymer. It had no lights, no energy cells, no complex targeting systems. He looked at the council and spoke calmly. "These weapons may look simple, but they are precise. Every shot is controlled by the shooter. They can pierce armor that is supposedly impenetrable." The insects clicked their mandibles. "Nonsense," one said. "We have shields that repel any projectile. These guns are useless against us." Elias's smile didn't waver. He placed the rifle down and gestured toward a small platform outside the main chamber. "A neutral testing area orbiting a deserted planet. We are ready to demonstrate," he said. "If you wish, you may observe." The council murmured. Some were curious, most were amused. No one expected anything impressive. The humans were escorted to the platform. From a distance, it looked like a small arena floating above the planet's barren surface. Targets had been set up at extreme distances. Alien technicians adjusted their shields, energy barriers, and sensors to protect the targets. Confident that the humans' bullets would bounce harmlessly off, Elias raised his rifle. "Watch carefully. Accuracy and discipline are what matter, not flashy technology," he fired. The bullet tore through the first target, a thick energy shield designed to repel any physical attack. The shield flickered and went dark for a moment. Aliens gasped. "What?" One screeched. It should not have penetrated. Elias fired again, and again. Each bullet struck with perfect precision, hitting weak points and corners of the shield. The aliens had never seen anything like it. A floating light orb beeped rapidly, trying to process what was happening. "Impossible," it said. "These weapons, how can they bypass energy barriers?" Elias didn't answer. He handed the rifle to another human, Lieutenant Maravos. She fired a series of shots at multiple targets simultaneously. Every shot hit exactly where it was aimed. The aliens' confidence began to waver, but the council's arrogance was strong. A representative with glowing red eyes floated forward. Surely this is luck. A few lucky shots mean nothing. We are the most advanced civilizations in the galaxy. You cannot win against us. Elias's expression remained calm. This is not luck, he said. This is practice, skill, and teamwork. These are the strengths of humans. The alien sneered. Strength. Against our plasma cannons, our drones, our gravity disruptors? You are foolish. Elias tilted his head slightly. Perhaps. But we never rely on only one weapon or one method. We adapt. We observe. We fight together. That is why even simple tools can be deadly. The aliens scoffed and signaled for a mock combat simulation. The humans were to face the Council's security drones, advanced machines with energy shields. Targeting lasers and autonomous tactics, the drones moved with precision, firing beams of light that could cut through metal like butter. But the humans were faster than expected. They ducked, rolled, and took cover. Mara fired at a drone's joint, disabling it instantly. Another human targeted a drone's sensor array, blinding it temporarily. The aliens watching began to whisper among themselves. This is unusual, said one. They fight as a unit. They think ahead. Elias stepped forward. Technology is nothing without strategy. Weapons do not win battles alone. People do. The drones attacked again, more aggressively this time. The humans split into two groups, covering each other. They moved in ways that seemed chaotic, but were carefully coordinated. A drone fired at one human, but another human anticipated the attack and disabled it with a precise shot. The Council's security team had never seen such synergy by the end of the demonstration. All drones were neutralized without a single human casualty. Some drones were destroyed completely, others were simply immobilized. The aliens were silent, unable to hide their shock. Back in the chamber, the council members whispered furiously. Their mockery was gone, replaced by uneasy respect. Some were angry at themselves for underestimating the humans. Others were genuinely impressed, though none would admit it openly. Elias returned the weapons to their cases and spoke once more. Our guns are simple, yes, but humans make them powerful. Not because of the tools, but because of how we use them. Never underestimate discipline, skill, and teamwork. The insectoid speaker clicked its mandibles, trying to regain control of the situation. Humans, you have shown some capability, but this is only a demonstration. The galaxy is vast. Do not think that your simple firearms make you equals of the most advanced species. Elias nodded politely. We do not claim to be the most advanced, but we do claim that no one should assume we are weak. Strength is not always obvious. Watch carefully. You may learn something. Aliens murmured again, some nodding reluctantly. Others glared, unwilling to admit their surprise. But one thing was clear. Humans had changed the perception of the Council in a single day. The mockery had ended. The lesson had begun. That night, the humans returned to their ship. The stars outside were calm and silent. Elias looked out at the distant planets and whispered to himself, they laughed. Soon they will understand. Not all battles are won with energy and lasers. Some are won with skill, patience, and simple iron. Mara smiled. Do you think they will ever take us seriously? Elias shook his head. Not yet, but they will. And when they do, it will be too late to ignore us. As the ship powered up, the humans prepared for what came next. The Galactic Council had underestimated them. They had laughed at human guns, and that laughter would be remembered for a long time. The neutral arena floated above the gray surface of a barren planet. The air was thin, and the ground below was cracked and lifeless. It was a perfect place for a demonstration, free from interference and observation hazards. The Galactic Council's representatives gathered in their viewing platforms, hovering high above the arena. Most of them were still skeptical, some curious, and a few quietly nervous after what they had seen in. Part 1. Captain Elias Trent led the humans to the center of the arena. The rifles, handguns, and small automatic weapons gleamed under the soft glow of the arena lights. But their appearance was still modest compared to the dazzling energy cannons and plasma rifles carried by alien species. A six-armed alien from the Council, clearly irritated, floated forward. "This is ridiculous. Your weapons cannot compare to even a single plasma rifle. You dare call them effective?" Elias met the alien's gaze steadily. "We do not compare them to plasma rifles. We demonstrate them. Observe carefully." The arena security systems activated. Advanced alien targets appeared, hovering dummies with energy shields, moving targets with reactive armor, and automated defense turrets programmed to shoot anything that moved. The Council watched, expecting the humans to fail, expecting their weapons to bounce harmlessly off the targets. Lieutenant Mara Voss stepped forward first. She knelt, adjusted her sight, and fired a single shot. The bullet hit the exact weak point of the first target's shield. The shield flickered, struggled, and then went dark for a moment. A ripple of shock went through the Council. "What?" one alien screeched. "It should have bounced. It cannot penetrate our shields." Elias nodded calmly. "It can. Precision and understanding of weak points matter more than raw energy." Mara fired again, moving her aim smoothly from one target to another. Each shot struck perfectly. Some bullets disabled the energy shields. Others hit the target's structural supports. The Council whispered in disbelief. A glowing orb alien blinked rapidly. "Impossible. These weapons." "How?" It beeped, almost frantically, as it tried to process the sequence of events. Elias gestured toward his team. "Observe teamwork. Observe timing. Every movement has a purpose. Every shot has intention." Another human, Sergeant Lynn Ortiz, stepped forward. He pulled out a small automatic rifle and fired in a sweeping motion. The bullets hit multiple moving targets with astonishing accuracy. Turrets that had been designed to track and shoot anything in the arena were disabled by precise shots to their sensors. Targets that moved unpredictably were neutralized almost instantly. The Council, which had been mocking the humans less than an hour ago, now sat silently, stunned. They had never seen such coordination, such careful planning, or such skill. No alien soldier or machine had ever fought with this level of discipline in a live demonstration. One of the insectoid representatives, a massive four-headed being with shiny black exoskeleton, clicked its mandibles nervously. "This cannot be. They are ordinary humans, ordinary weapons. Yet they strike as if they can predict the future." Elias smiled faintly. "Not the future. Observation. Practice. Teamwork. Humans make the simple, powerful." Council decided to escalate the test. A combat simulation was arranged. The humans would face the Council's security drones, armed with plasma cannons, laser-guided missiles, and adaptive energy shields. The expectation was simple. Humans would fail, and the Council would reaffirm its superiority. The drones activated, filling the arena with the hum of energy and the sharp sound of warning sirens. They moved in perfect formation, firing their weapons in precise bursts. Humans dodged, rolled, and used every cover available. Each human moved in tandem with the others, never leaving a teammate exposed. Mara fired at a drone's movement sensors, instantly blinding it. Another human targeted the drone's mobility joints, causing it to stumble and lose balance. Every human action was synchronized. The drones, though advanced, struggled to adapt to a strategy they had not been programmed to counter. An alien whisper traveled through the Council. How? Their bullets should not even reach the targets. And yet, Elias stepped forward, addressing the Council without raising his voice. "Your drones are powerful, but they have limits. Their sensors, their shielding, and their algorithms are predictable. Humans exploit patterns. Humans improvise. Humans adapt." The drones tried to fire faster, coordinate better, and counter the humans' strategy, but the humans were always one step ahead. Their discipline allowed them to read the battlefield, anticipate movements, and strike at vulnerabilities. One by one, the drones fell. Some were destroyed completely, their metal frames twisted. Others were disabled, unable to move or fire. Not a single human was injured. The council's representatives stared, some openly in shock, others struggling to hide fear. A counselor with luminescent blue skin floated forward, trembling slightly. These humans, they are incredible, but it cannot be. Simple bullets against plasma shields. Elias walked calmly across the arena. A weapon is only as effective as the person using it. A simple tool in capable hands is more dangerous than the most advanced technology in unskilled hands. Another alien, a large creature with tentacles and a massive head, bellowed, "You are lucky. You face only a demonstration. In actual war, you would be destroyed." Elias's gaze was steady. Luck has nothing to do with it. Strategy, discipline, and teamwork are our weapons. That is why humans survive and often win even when outnumbered and outgunned. The council's whispers grew louder. Some were visibly nervous now. Many began to realize that they had underestimated humans. The arrogance that had filled the chamber hours before was gone. Only cautious curiosity remained. Mara approached one of the council's holographic panels. She pressed a button, and all human movements during the demonstration were displayed. Every step, every shot, every tactical maneuver was visible in slow motion. Aliens could see the planning, the timing, and the precision. The glowing orb alien beeped repeatedly. They fight in ways we cannot understand. Their movements, coordinated yet flexible. Elias addressed the council again. Humans rely on skill, not technology alone. We learn from every battle, every failure. Our strength is in adaptability. This is why we survive, and why you should never underestimate us. A few council members began to nod, though none spoke aloud. One insectoid clicked its mandibles, a sound that meant grudging approval. Another, a floating crystalline being, blinked in admiration. The humans' demonstration was not about destruction. It was about capability. They had neutralized advanced drones without excessive force. They had shown that even primitive weapons and skilled hands could outperform sophisticated technology. The lesson was clear. Underestimate humans at your peril. Elias and his team returned their weapons to their cases. They did so calmly, without a single boast or shout. Their composure contrasted sharply with the council's earlier mockery and the nervous energy now spreading among the alien representatives. The insectoid speaker cleared its throat. Trying to regain control of the proceedings, humans, you have demonstrated some skill, perhaps more than we expected. But this is only a simulation. The galaxy is vast. You have shown nothing yet about actual combat against real threats. Elias nodded politely. We understand. But even this simulation shows what we are capable of. Technology alone does not determine strength. Human skill, teamwork, and adaptability are equally, if not more, important. The humans left the arena quietly. The council members continued to murmur. Some were still in disbelief, while others whispered warnings to their allies. The mood had shifted completely. Where laughter had once filled the room, now uncertainty reigned. In the quiet of the human ship, Elias spoke to his team. They laughed at us before. Now they see a glimpse of what humans can do. But this is only the beginning. They will continue to underestimate us, as they always do. And that underestimation will work in our favor. Mara smiled. Do you think they will ever take us seriously? Elias shook his head. Not yet. But soon they will realize that their arrogance is dangerous. Humans may use simple tools, but we do so with precision, discipline, and unity. That is something no alien technology alone can match. The stars outside the ship were still and silent. The humans had proven themselves once more, not through flashy energy weapons, but through careful preparation, steady hands, and teamwork. The lesson for the Galactic Council was already forming. Mock human guns at your own risk. The Galactic Council chamber had never seen tension like this before. The humans had returned from their neutral arena demonstration, and whispers of amazement had spread like wildfire among the representatives. But the council, proud and confident, was determined to test the humans further. This time, the stakes were higher. a controlled combat simulation directly against the Council's elite security forces. Captain Elias Trent stood at the edge of the arena, his team ready behind him. The humans were calm, focused, and alert. They had trained for years for moments like this. Their weapons, still primitive in appearance, were packed with precision-engineered ammunition. Each human understood not just their own role, but the role of their teammates. The arena was vast. An enclosed section of the council chamber itself, with shifting cover, moving obstacles, and advanced energy barriers. The council's security drones and humanoid soldiers entered, armed with plasma rifles, energy shields, laser-guided rockets, and other high-tech weaponry. The aliens had expected the humans to falter. They were confident. They were smug. They were about to be shocked. "Humans," said the four-headed insectoid speaker, "this is your final test. Fail, and we shall consider your species harmless. Succeed, and we will. Reconsider your place in the galaxy." Elias nodded. "We accept your challenge." The simulation began. The drones advanced first, scanning the arena for movement. Lasers lanced through the air, cutting sparks from the walls and sending harmless warning signals toward the humans. Humans dropped behind cover, their movements precise. Sergeant Lynn Ortiz fired first, taking out a drone sensor array with a single shot. The drone staggered, unable to see. Another human targeted its mobility joints, crippling its movement. A council officer shouted, "They are ordinary humans. This should not be happening." Elias stepped forward, voice calm. "Ordinary weapons in extraordinary hands are not ordinary at all." The drones fired again, adjusting their strategy. They tried to anticipate human movements using advanced algorithms. But humans did not move predictably. They feinted, ducked, rolled, and repositioned. When one human moved to engage a drone, another covered him perfectly. Anticipating every action, Lieutenant Mara Voss fired at a drone hovering behind a shield. Her bullet hit a weak point in the shield's structure, causing it to collapse. The drone spun out of control, hitting another drone. Chaos among the Council's forces began to emerge. One alien counselor, his skin a brilliant shade of violet, whispered, How do they coordinate like this? Even our elite teams cannot move in such perfect synchronization." Elias raised his rifle, taking aim at a squad of humanoid security units advancing from the opposite side. He fired 3 precise shots. Each hit disabled a critical system in their armor. A power regulator here, a mobility joint there. The humans did not aim to kill, they aimed to neutralize. Every shot was deliberate, calculated. The council gasped. "These humans, they fight differently." A tentacled alien exclaimed, "It is not brute force. It is strategy." The humans split into small squads. Each squad moved independently, but remained connected by sight lines and subtle gestures. One human distracted a group of drones with a rapid series of shots, while another flanked from the side, hitting the drone's weak points with unerring accuracy. An alien with translucent wings tried to intervene, firing a plasma beam. Mara ducked behind a small wall, then rolled forward, firing at the alien's power source. Sparks flew. The alien screamed in alarm and retreated. The Council's elite forces were formidable. Humans were unlike anything they had encountered. They used cover, timing, observation, and coordinated attacks. Drones were disabled before they could react. Advanced shields were pierced where they were weakest. Energy weapons were dodged with uncanny precision. Elias moved calmly across the arena, his presence steadying the humans around him. "Remember," he said, "our strength is not in our guns alone. It is in our teamwork. It is in our discipline. It is in our understanding of the battlefield." The humans executed a complex maneuver. They created overlapping fields of fire, forcing the Council's forces into disadvantageous positions. One squad took high ground, using small rifles to target critical systems on drones. Another squad advanced through low cover, disabling energy turrets and creating safe paths for teammates. The Council representatives leaned forward, unable to hide their shock. A crystalline being whispered, They anticipate every move, every attack, It is as if they see the battlefield as one organism, not separate individuals. The simulation reached its climax. The remaining drones and soldiers converged on the humans' position, attempting to overwhelm them with sheer firepower. But the humans had already prepared. Each human moved in perfect sequence, creating openings, neutralizing threats. And controlling the battlefield, Mara fired a shot that caused a chain reaction, disabling 2 drones at once. Lin flanked a humanoid unit, taking it out of the fight without harming it fatally. Elias coordinated from the center, issuing gestures that guided each squad's movements. The Council had never seen such coordination and precision. The final moments were tense. The humans faced a group of heavily armed soldiers advancing from the far side of the arena. The Council expected the humans to be cornered, expecting them to falter. Elias smiled faintly. Watch. The humans executed a sweeping maneuver, converging on the advancing soldiers from multiple angles. Every shot was deliberate, every move calculated. The soldiers were neutralized, their weapons disabled, their energy shields breached. Not a single human fell. The humans stood victorious, calm and composed. The chamber erupted in whispers, then silence. The council representatives stared, unable to hide their shock. The insectoid speaker clicked its mandibles in disbelief. This cannot be. They are ordinary humans. Yet they have outmatched our elite forces. Elias lowered his rifle. We are humans. We rely on skill, observation, and teamwork. Technology alone does not win battles. Discipline and adaptability do. A counselor with bioluminescent skin floated forward, voice trembling slightly. You have shown us something. Unexpected, perhaps. Humans are not to be underestimated. Elias nodded. It is not about underestimation. It is about understanding. Every species has strengths. Every species has weaknesses. Humans turn simplicity into power. That is our strength. Hey. The chamber fell silent. The council, proud and confident for centuries, had been humbled. They had assumed humans were weak, their weapons outdated, their tactics simple. But they had learned a crucial lesson. Humans were more than they appeared. The humans returned to their ship quietly. Without celebration, outside, the stars were still and silent, as if the galaxy itself was watching. Mara turned to Elias. They respected us. But will they ever truly understand? She asked. Elias shook his head. Not yet. They may never fully understand, but they will remember, and that is enough. Underestimation is a mistake they will not make twice. Inside the ship, the humans cleaned their weapons and prepared for the next phase. The council had challenged them directly, expecting a failure. The humans had turned expectation into advantage. They had shown that even primitive guns, in skilled and disciplined hands, could overcome the most advanced technology the galaxy had to offer as the ship powered up for departure. The message was clear. The humans' skill and unity were as deadly as any plasma rifle or energy cannon. The Galactic Council would have to reconsider its assumptions about this small, disciplined species from Earth. The Galactic Council chamber was quiet now, a tension unlike any before filling the air. The humans' demonstrations had left every representative in shock. The mockery that had filled the hall when Captain Elias Trent first entered had vanished, replaced by whispered discussions, careful calculations, and a growing sense of unease. After the last combat simulation, the insectoid speaker called a private meeting with the senior council leaders. The humans were not present. Behind closed doors, the most powerful species in the galaxy debated, some arguing for caution, others for diplomacy. They are ordinary humans, said one crystalline alien, its many facets gleaming with concern. Their weapons are primitive. Surely there must be a limit. A tentacled counselor shook its head. Primitive? Perhaps. But ordinary? No, did you not see how they neutralized our drones? Our best security units? Without casualties? It defies logic. Another counselor, a glowing orb of light, pulsed nervously. They fight in ways we cannot predict. They coordinate perfectly. they anticipate movement. Even our algorithms could not adapt quickly enough. Algorithms? Scoffed a large reptilian alien. They are just humans. Simple creatures. We cannot let fear cloud our judgment. A soft chime echoed through the chamber, signaling the end of the debate. The speakers for heads rotated, clicking their mandibles in frustration. Enough. Let us be clear. These humans are capable, perhaps more capable than any single species we have underestimated. We must proceed carefully. We must learn. Meanwhile, aboard their ship, Elias Trent and his team were discussing the outcomes of the simulations. They were not celebrating. For humans, preparation, observation, and reflection were more important than pride. Do you think they understand? Lieutenant Mara Voss asked, cleaning her rifle. Elias shook his head. They may not understand. They may never fully grasp our methods. But they respect results. And respect is enough for now. Sergeant Lynn Ortiz looked at the others, concern in his eyes. So, what now? They're aware of our capabilities. They might see us as a threat, Elias nodded. Perhaps. That is why we must show them the other side of humans, the discipline, the strategy, and the sense of responsibility that comes with power. They cannot fear what they cannot see. We will guide them. The next day, the council summoned the humans again. This time, the meeting was not about combat demonstrations. It was about strategy. The senior leaders wanted to understand the human approach to conflict, planning, and coordination. Elias and his team entered the chamber calmly. The council representatives looked uneasy, their pride tempered by the humans' previous victories. The four-headed insectoid speaker spoke first. Humans, your performance was remarkable. Yet, weapons alone do not win battles. Teach us how you achieve such results. How do you coordinate? How do you anticipate? Explain yourselves. Elias nodded and gestured for a holodisplay. The humans had prepared a visual explanation. Simple diagrams, tactical examples, and simulations showing human strategies in historical battles. We fight not with technology alone, Elias began. We fight with discipline, observation, and planning. Our weapons are simple, yes, but each soldier is trained to understand their environment, to work with teammates, and to use weaknesses to advantage. Every action is calculated. Every movement purposeful. Floating orb alien beeped in astonishment. Purposeful movements. You anticipate reactions and plan accordingly. Yes, Elias said. We study our enemy. We study ourselves. We adapt. We learn quickly. Technology is useful, but it cannot replace observation, decision-making, and teamwork. Mara added, we rely on small units that can communicate instantly, respond flexibly, and cover each other. Even simple weapons become formidable when used this way. Each human knows the role of every teammate. Every person is vital, the council murmured. Some aliens were nodding slightly. Others looked thoughtful, realizing how much they relied on machines and advanced tech while underestimating human judgment and coordination. A crystalline counselor spoke, its facets reflecting the room's light. So, it is not just the weapons. It is the soldiers themselves, the humans' thought processes, their teamwork, their adaptability. Exactly, Elias said. We do not depend on our weapons alone. We depend on preparation, discipline, and the ability to adapt. That is why humans survive, even when outnumbered or outgunned. The tentacled alien whispered to a neighbor, we rely on technology, and yet these humans succeed with what is considered obsolete. Reptilian counselor nodded slowly. Perhaps we have been too arrogant. We have assumed that our advanced weapons make us invincible. But humans demonstrate skill and strategy that we cannot replicate with technology alone. The humans continued their explanation, showing simulations of historical battles on Earth, demonstrating how small, disciplined teams had overcome larger and better equipped forces through planning and coordination. The aliens watched in awe. Even those who were initially skeptical began to understand. One insectoid counselor, usually loud and brash, clicked its mandibles thoughtfully. You rely on intelligence, coordination, and observation. Technology alone cannot achieve what you have demonstrated. This is unsettling. And yet, there is respect in it. Elias nodded. We do not seek to unsettle. We seek to survive, to understand, and to do what is necessary to protect our people. That is why humans value discipline and responsibility as much as strength. The glowing orb pulsed slowly, sending a pattern of light across the chamber. Responsibility. You exercise restraint even with power, that is, rare among advanced species. Yes, Elias said quietly. Strength without responsibility is dangerous. We aim to control our power, to use it with purpose. That is the lesson the humans bring. Not just firepower, but wisdom, strategy, and ethics. The council leaders fell silent. The lesson was clear. Humans were not simply dangerous because of their firearms. Humans were dangerous because of their thinking, their coordination, their sense of responsibility. A soft hum filled the chamber as the speaker clicked its mandibles. Perhaps humans are not just capable fighters. Perhaps they can teach us something we have forgotten: how to rely on skill and strategy rather than sheer technological power. Achilles' team remained composed. They had not sought to impress. They had sought to demonstrate reality. The aliens were now beginning to understand that human strength came not from flashy weapons, but from discipline, preparation, and adaptability. Mara whispered to Elias as they left the chamber later. Do you think they will remember this lesson? Elias smiled faintly. They will. They may not fully understand it yet, but the memory will stay. Arrogance fades quickly when faced with skill and discipline. They will respect humans now, perhaps even fear underestimation in the future. As the humans returned to their ship, the stars outside seemed to shine a little brighter. The galaxy was vast, and the council would face many challenges in the future. But one thing was certain: humans had earned a new place in the thoughts of every representative present. Inside the ship, Elias addressed his team. We have shown them more than our weapons. We have shown them our approach, our thinking, our ethics. The galaxy now knows humans are not to be underestimated, but we must remain vigilant. Respect does not equal trust. Our work is not done. Lynn nodded. So, we continue to prepare. And wait. Ilias's eyes were steady. We prepare, we observe, and we act when necessary. That is what humans do. That is why we survive and why we will always be ready, no matter what comes next. The ship powered up, engines humming softly. The humans had turned the council's arrogance into awareness. They had taught a lesson without firing a single shot in anger. Their power was more than weapons. It was strategy, skill, discipline, and the quiet confidence of a species that had learned to survive against impossible odds. And somewhere in the council chamber, whispers traveled among the delegates. Humans. Simple weapons. Incredible skill. They fight differently. Perhaps we have judged them too lightly. The lesson had been delivered. The galaxy would not forget it. The Galactic Council chamber had never been quieter. The humans had finished their demonstrations. The private meetings had revealed their philosophy. Skill, discipline, teamwork, and strategy were as powerful as the most advanced technology. The counselors had seen it firsthand, and the lesson had sunk deeply into the minds of all present. Captain Elias Trent and his team had returned to their ship. But the ripple of their actions was still spreading through the galaxy. Delegates whispered to each other, sharing reports and simulations of human tactics. The simple truth was undeniable. Humans could fight smarter, faster, and more effectively than many species with far superior technology. Yet, for the humans, the goal was not dominance, it was understanding, survival, and preparedness. Their mission had never been to conquer, but to demonstrate the value of their discipline and the effectiveness of their methods. And now, the galaxy was listening. Days later, the council called a formal assembly. This time, humans were invited not as mere participants, but as advisors. Every species that had once mocked them now sought to learn from them. Captain Trent stood at the head of the assembly chamber, calm as ever, while representatives from dozens of civilizations filled the hall. Some were nervous, some curious, and others openly respectful. Humans. The insectoid speaker began, "We have observed your demonstrations. We have reviewed your methods. Your firearms, simple as they are, were effective beyond our calculations. More importantly, your approach to combat, your teamwork, and your discipline are unlike anything we have encountered. We request your counsel for future operations." Elias nodded. "We will provide guidance. But remember, technology alone does not win battles. Strategy, observation, discipline, and adaptability are just as important." A floating crystalline alien blinked. "Your approach teaches more than combat. It teaches understanding. Even in situations where victory seems impossible, humans find a way." How Elias looked around the chamber. "We prepare, we train, we think ahead. We observe carefully. Every action has purpose. Every movement is calculated. That is how humans succeed where others fail." The counselors listened intently. Some of them had lost their previous arrogance. Others were quietly wary. The humans had proven that underestimation was dangerous. Not long after, the galaxy faced a sudden threat. A rogue fleet from an unknown region had begun attacking trade routes and colonies. They had advanced energy weapons and ships larger than most council fleets. Panic rippled through the chamber as reports came in. Many species scrambled to organize defense, but their strategies were often chaotic, reliant on sheer firepower rather than precision. Elias and his team were called upon to assist. They did not command armies, but they advised strategically, sharing human principles of coordination, discipline, and careful observation. The humans emphasized small, mobile units striking with precision, targeting weaknesses, and using teamwork to neutralize larger forces. In the first engagement, the humans guided a coalition fleet against a rogue task force. The aliens' weapons were powerful, but their coordination was lacking. Humans positioned ships to maximize coverage, protect each other, and exploit weak points in the enemy formations. Lieutenant Mara Voss coordinated several strike teams. Focus on mobility, anticipate their responses, and strike weak points. Do not rely on raw firepower alone, she instructed. The alien captains followed the human guidance, amazed at how the simple, disciplined approach outmaneuvered their previous over-reliance on technology. The battle unfolded like a carefully choreographed dance. Bullets and missiles, lasers and energy beams, all moved with precision. The humans' influence was clear. Even advanced alien ships were being outsmarted, not overpowered. By the end of the engagement, the rogue fleet had been neutralized. Not a single human aboard the command ship had been harmed. The aliens who had once mocked them now whispered reverently, "It is not just their weapons. It is their minds." Back at the council chamber, representatives were taking notes, revising strategies, and acknowledging the humans' role in the victory. Arrogance had been replaced by respect and cautious humility. A crystalline counselor addressed Elias. "Humans, you have shown us that technology alone is not supreme. Even the most advanced weapons are ineffective without coordination, observation, and strategy. We are grateful for your counsel." Elias nodded. "Do not mistake guidance for control. We show you what is possible. It is up to every species to adapt and learn." Even those who had been most vocal in their mockery began to understand a crucial truth. Humans were formidable, not because of what they held in their hands, but because of what they held in their minds and hearts. The humans did not stop with the Council's fleets. Over the next months, they advised on training programs, coordination methods, and strategic simulations across multiple species. Small teams of humans worked with alien units, teaching them principles of observation, teamwork, and adaptability. One day, a young alien captain approached Mara Voss. "I fought alongside your humans in the simulation," the alien said. "Your techniques saved my fleet. I had mocked your species once. Never again." Mara smiled. "It is not about proving superiority. It is about showing what discipline, teamwork, and careful planning can achieve. That is what humans value most. Word of human capability spread across the galaxy. Trading fleets, defense forces, and even academic institutions began requesting human instructors. The species that had once laughed at simple rifles now studied them with curiosity and respect. The Council, which had once dismissed humans as weak, now treated them as equals, sometimes as allies, sometimes as mentors, and sometimes with cautious wariness. Humans had earned a place in galactic affairs not through arrogance, but through competence, discipline, and humility. Captain Trent watched the stars from the bridge of the human flagship. Mara and Lynn stood beside him, reviewing reports of the latest Council-led exercises. The galaxy had changed, and humans had changed the perception of what was possible. Do you think they will ever stop underestimating humans? Len asked. Elias smiled faintly. Perhaps not, but that is their choice. Underestimation can be dangerous. We do not need every species to respect us fully. We only need them to be aware and cautious. Amara looked out at the glittering stars. And if they test us again, we are ready, Elias said firmly. Humans always are. Not because of weapons, but because of discipline, strategy, and unity. That is our advantage. That is why we survive. The human delegation had done more than survive the Galactic Council's mockery. They had transformed it. They had taught the galaxy a lesson: never underestimate humans. For even the simplest of weapons and skilled, disciplined hands could achieve what seemed impossible. And somewhere deep in the council chamber, the whisper had become a chorus. Galactic Council mocked human guns until they fired. And now, we will never forget. The galaxy moved forward, but the humans remained calm. They had shown that strength was not only in weapons or technology, but in thought, preparation, and unity. They had earned respect, not through arrogance, but through action. Elias looked at his crew. We have done enough for now. The galaxy has learned its lesson. But remember, the work is never done. Humans survive because we are always ready, Mara nodded. And the Council? They will remember, Elias said, and they will respect us. That is all we ask. The human ship powered up, slipping silently into the stars. The Council watched, aware that humans had become something they could neither ignore nor underestimate. The galaxy had changed forever. The humans had fired, and the consequences would echo for centuries.